Agit Kabayel stopped Damian Knyba in 3 rounds. However, he struggled in the first 2 rounds. And then he got the job done in the end after 3 rounds. So look, the question that everybody is asking right now is, who is Agit Kabayel going to fight next? Look, there are so many options on the table, but Agit Kabayel himself, after the fight, said that he wanted the Alexander Usyk fight next. He said that before the fight, and he doubled down on the fact that he wants the Usyk fight next. So, look, it's a fight that I want, because I feel like Alexander Usyk, has fought everyone in the division. He's beaten everyone. And, myself and a lot of people are wanting Kabayel to get his opportunity against Alexander Usyk. This is the fight that everybody wants to see. And to be fair with you, I think right now, Agit Kabayel has, a good chance against Alexander Usyk. Not that he beats Usyk, because I don't think Kabayel beats Usyk, but I think Kabayel has a very good chance against Usyk because of his fighting style. So this is a fight that, if it happens, I'll be more than happy to watch. And I think a lot of people would also love to see this fight because, Alexander Usyk has fought all the Brits. He's beaten all the, Brits. I mean, we've got Fabi Wardley, who we thought that Usyk was going to fight, but Usyk decided to fight, Deontay Wilder, right? So then he's not very keen on a Kabayel fight. And you could understand why Usyk is not keen on a Kabayel fight. Not because Usyk is scared of Kabayel, but because Usyk wants to add to his legacy in fighting, one of the champions in his era, in Deontay Wilder, which he never fought, really. So, look, that is a fight that Usyk won. To me, I don't think that Alexander Usyk versus Agit Kabayel, I don't think that it happens. I think what we are likely to see yet, or still waiting to see, or waiting to get a confirmation on, is Alexander Usyk versus Deontay Wilder being confirmed for the US. So with that being said, I think Agit Kabayel needs to look afield. He needs to look elsewhere and pick an opponent. And the reason why I say that is because, guys, Agit Kabayel did not look good in the first 2 rounds. And the reason why he did not look good in the first 2 rounds is because Kabayel, was sluggish, right? His footwork was not there. Him getting to the target, getting to Knyba's body to do the work. He was very slow-footed. He couldn't get his way through Knyba because Knyba's jab was really good, and Kabayel was eating a lot of jab in the first 2 rounds. And that comes down to inactivity, right? So we need to see more activity. We need to, Kabayel needs to get in the ring. He needs to fight more, especially in 2026, because in 2025, Kabayel only fought once. And that is not good for any top fighter at all. And in this fight against Knyba, Kabayel was found wanting in the first 2 rounds. So, look, he needs to fight more. He needs to have more activity. And I think if he's not going to get the Alexander Usyk fight, then he needs to look elsewhere to get the next fight. Which brings me to this guy, Lawrence Okolie. Lawrence Okolie was at the fight. And after the fight, Lawrence Okolie said he wants the Kabayel fight. For some reason, Lawrence Okolie believes that he can beat Agit Kabayel. He's been saying it. He said it after the fight. He said it, at the post-fight, interview that he did. He said he wants that fight next, and that he's seen something in Kabayel's game that he would beat. Now, on the live watch-along that I did for the fight, a lot of people were saying they don't want to see the Lawrence Okolie versus Kabayel fight because Lawrence Okolie is not the most pretty fighter to watch. He's very, jab, right hand sort of fighter. Reminds me a bit of like the Klitschko, right? Vladimir Klitschko. He was very, boring, jab, right hand. At a certain point of Vladimir Klitschko's career, not the whole time in his career, but when he was very safety first, Vladimir Klitschko, he used to fight jab, right hand, and then grabs, and then, makes it really boring. And that's how Lawrence Okolie fights. So I can understand why people are saying they don't want to see the Lawrence Okolie fight versus Agit Kabayel. But look, I don't mind that fight. I think that is a decent fight for Kabayel, especially if he will not get the Usyk fight. Lawrence Okolie, I think, is a decent fighter. One thing that I think Agit Kabayel needs to capitalize on is fighting in Germany, because the crowd that came to support him in Germany was massive. And the German market is definitely, up for grasp. So if Kabayel can get another fight or someone like a Lawrence Okoli in Germany, which will be a decent fight. He can put a lot of numbers in that arena that he did. I think he did like 16,000, so he can do more. So he put more people in the arena and fight someone like a, Lawrence Okoli, who is also waiting to get a big fight. That could be another massive fight in Germany, and that could solidify Kabayel as a, pay-per-view, star in Germany, in Europe, right? The market is there. And that is something that they need to do. So I think this is a good fight. I think it could be a good fight for Kabayel, and he needs to look at that. Now, another option that could be on the table for Kabayel to fight next is this guy, Fabio Wardley, right? Fabio Wardley, is looking to defend his WBO, championship belt, which he took from Joseph Parker. And I feel like if Kabayel is not going to get Usyk, right, and Kabayel does not want to take someone like a, Lawrence Okoli, then I think Fabio Wardley fight probably makes sense right now, because I thought that if Usyk was not going to fight Fabio Wardley, which he decided not to, then I thought the fighter that was next in line was Agit Kabayel. And of course, Usyk decided not to fight Kabayel. So Kabayel versus Fabio Wardley is a fight that I would love to see. I think it would be a great fight. It's a fight that would sell, the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. If they decided to do it in Germany, it's a fight that will sell a lot of ticket in Germany, because Fabio Wardley brings a lot of, crowd. He brings a lot of people to the stadium, because we saw him selling out, Ellen Road. I think that he would be able to bring a lot of supporters to that fight and make it a really big fight in Germany. So look, Agit Kabayel, he has a lot of options on the table. But one thing that I would say is Kabayel has to be, active. He has to be. There's no way that Agit Kabayel can wait or can only fight one time this year, because that is not going to be good for him. We saw in this fight against Knyba that he was sluggish, that he was sloppy, that he wasn't sharp enough, that his head movement was not there, his footwork was off, his timing was off in the first 2 rounds, and his distance control was off. He just wasn't the Agit Kabayel that we knew against Frank Sanchez or Makhmudov or Zhile Zhang. So he needs to fight more. He needs to stay active. And one of these fighters, if he's not going to get the Usyk fight, then Lawrence Okoli or, Fabio Wardley could be a really good fight for him. Now, they could look at other options, but I think these are the best options for him to stay active. Because, who knows what's going to happen with Usyk versus Wilder. Maybe Agit Kabayel will get that fight, but we don't know. So he needs to stay active, and he needs to make sure that he's fighting quite often this year in 2026. But you guys get in the comment section and let me know what you think about Agit Kabayel, his next fight. Who should he fight next? Is it Alexander Usyk? I mean, are we going to see Alexander Usyk, come back and decide not to take on Deontay Wilder and fight Kabayel now that Kabayel has somehow established himself in the German market? That could be an option there, guys, because Usyk would look at the fight on the weekend and think, do you know what? Kabayel versus Usyk in Germany is a big fight. So Usyk could decide to win the fight. Or Lawrence Okoli, as I said, he wants the fight. He thinks he will beat Kabayel. Or Fabio Wardley, who is the WBO champion, and maybe Kabayel versus Fabio Wardley. Not maybe, but it's a big fight. I would love to see that fight. I'll make Kabayel favorite against all the fighters that I've mentioned except Alexander Usyk, because I don't think Kabayel beats Alexander Usyk just yet. But it will be an interesting fight to see, because I think stylistically, Alexander Usyk versus Kabayel mesh really well. And once again, I'd love to see Usyk in a ring with Kabayel. But look, get in the comment section and let me know what you think about this. Who should Kabayel fight next? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, guys.